Okay, so one of the questions that I often get is what is better, single family or multi-family property? And as you might have guessed, single family means that it's one house, basically one family lives in it. And multi-family tends to be more, duplexes, triplex, fourplex apartment buildings and so on. And one of the questions is always which is better for investment? And the answer is it really depends on two things. One is the building and the other thing is the location. Okay. Why do I say that? Because every location and every building is different and has its own challenges. If you're in a higher income neighborhood, I'm talking in a place that has a lot of professionals, oftentimes multifamily can be, not always, but can be the better investment. And the reason for that is that you tend to get more rent per square footage of property. Because if I've got, say, a fourplex that has four separate units, well, I have one roof for that fourplex. So if I have to repair the roof, I'll have to repair it once. If I own four separate houses, that's four roofs. That's four sets of plumbing. It's four sets of, anything that I need to repair, which generally speaking in one building tends to be cheaper when I spread that cost over all of them. And this is in a higher income area. In a lower income area, I really prefer single family homes as opposed to multifamily. And the reason for that is really to do with the quality of tenant. So if you've got a more expensive area or a more upmarket area, the tenants that you get just tend to respect the property better. Not always, but generally tend to respect the property better, tend to be easier to deal with in many ways, tend to be able to afford the rent and so on. And oftentimes, multifamily in higher income areas is a choice. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. In a lower income area, multifamily is cheaper than a single family home. Whereas a single family home may rent for $1,000 a month, you may be able to get the same size, like say a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, for $700 or $800 a month in multifamily versus $1,000 in the single family. And so oftentimes your tenants are forced to choose what they can afford. In a higher income location, people tend to choose what they want because they can afford either. And so that tenant in the multifamily in the lower income area tends to have more issues, or you have more problems with them because it's a lower level, a lower class of tenant as far as ability to repay and other things. Okay, I'm talking about the person, their own value or anything like that. I'm just saying from a pure tenant standpoint, the lower you go down the income scale, the more problems you tend to have. It's just a fact. That's the way it is. And so if you're in a low income space, multifamily tends to attract kind of the lower quality of tenants. As you go to a single family, it's a better quality of tenant, and then from there. However, oftentimes in the other way, you can get really, really good tenants in multifamily in more expensive suburbs. And so as to which one is better, it really depends where you're buying. But in my experience, I tend to favor multifamily in good areas, and I tend to favor single family in lower income areas. And this is after, looking and managing and helping, with hundreds of units over a long period of time. And this just seems to bear out time and time again that multifamily does better in those higher income areas. So when you're thinking about which one is going to be right for you, just look first at the type of neighborhood you're buying in and the type of tenant. Are they making a choice to live there, or is that the cheapest place that they can afford? Because if it's the cheapest place that they can afford, that's going to come with its own sets of challenges. So I encourage you to look at those things next time. Hope this was helpful.